Chapter 2. Chapter 2. Angering the Gods. We should hurry. I left Annabeth with Eurylochus, Odysseus warns. Oh, we cannot miss that, Percy says with a chuckle, picking up the pace. He makes a nervous laugh and does the same. At least Percy doesn't seem to actually think they'll kill each other. When they get back, they see a very bruised Eurylochus, Percy sighing sadly. He hates it when he gets to miss watching his girlfriend fight. Odysseus looks at him, giving a light sigh. Not dead, just dumb. That's fine. We got food, he announces. Oh, that's great, Annabeth says, sheathing her sword. The other members of the crew swarming them. You should have seen it, Captain. He didn't even land a blow on her, one exclaims. She fights faster than you. Odysseus looks at Annabeth before smiling at his crew. They seem to have warmed up to her well. I don't doubt that. Shame I missed it. Though I'm sure Eurylochus could tell me all about it, he smirks to him, Eurylochus lightly glaring back. All right, who's ready to help get all this food sorted? He calls. Men move to the beach to help him unload it. That thing's jam-packed, too, having even more food than Odysseus had thought could fit. I was kind of hoping for more, Annabeth notes, looking at it all. Yeah, well, next time, you can bargain with the Cyclops then, Percy says all huffily. Maybe you should have put on a wedding dress, she jokes to Percy. A wedding dress? The others ask up apprehensively. Percy sighs and chuckles. Yeah, when we were kids, my friend got kidnapped by a Cyclops and pretended to be a bride. He says slowly, trying to avoid bursting into giggles. Oh, I see, Odysseus nods, trying not to laugh as well. This is not exactly a way he would think of handling a Cyclops. How would that even work? Well, he was blind, so he could only feel the wedding dress, Annabeth explains. Anyway, this is a good amount of food. 2 days for the whole fleet, she notes as she looks over the piles that have been made to pass out to the other ships. Percy, are there any islands around here that we can get to in 2 days or less? She asks, turning to him. I'll check, Percy says, moving to the edge of the water and kneeling down in it, his eyes closed. Can he feel islands? Odysseus asks Annabeth quietly as he watches. In a way, yeah. He explained it as being able to feel where the water stops, she explains quietly back. That is amazing. Scary, he mumbles the last word. That is not even the closest to the scariest thing he can do. Annabeth gets a slightly distant look. Scarier than what he's seen? Oh, he should really go check on the crew of the ship that Percy lifted. Make sure they aren't too freaked out. He scoops up some food from a pile, instructing his men to start passing it out to the other ships, carrying his armful to that ship. My king, his men greet him, still sounding shaken. Our boat was... I'm aware, Odysseus soothes. I'm sorry, but it was necessary to get us food. He sets down their share of cheeses, cured meats, and dried fruits. But how? They question with worry. I have welcomed a son of Poseidon to join our fleet, he explains. Do not worry. He doesn't plan to hurt any of us. They seem unsure of that, though he cannot blame them. Such a display of power worries him as well. If they piss this kid off, he could very possibly drown their whole fleet. He's very friendly, he says, maybe more to soothe himself than them. Percy has been nothing but helpful. If you say so, they nod and take the food. Odysseus smiling and going to check over the rest of his fleet before returning to his own ship, where Percy is now standing again. There's an island only 3 days from here. We will head for. He's informed as they board the boat of the ship. Odysseus nods. Where is it? He questions her. Oh, Percy will handle that, she dismisses. Is everyone ready to cast off? Odysseus looks around before nodding. Yes we are, he confirms. He still does not know how to feel about her. Awesome, Percy nods. Before he can start pulling them out to the sea, Odysseus feels a familiar presence, and the world slows. I thought you smarter than to leave an island with more food to be had. without enough food for your journey. Your men will be starving once you get to this new island, and there might not even be food there to be had. Athena scolds. Had I pushed for more, would my men have made it out safely? Odysseus argues, turning to look at her. Our trade was weak, but more than what we could have hoped for from a cannibalistic beast. I would not trade their lives for more food. He is right. It's the best option we had. He hears Annabeth chime in. Odysseus turns to look at Annabeth, eyes wide. No one's ever broken in on his and Athena's conversations before, and Athena looks almost as shocked as him, her spear and shield raised as she examines Annabeth, her own eyes locking onto Annabeth's own identical ones. And who may you be? She asks, her voice stern. My name is Annabeth Chase, Annabeth informs, voice filled with venom, like she might actually try and fight Athena. Athena draws back in surprise, lowering her shield. She had never had someone mortal speak to her in such a way. Then it is true. Annabeth. And this was really the only option? She questions, tone less harsh. Yes, it was. The only one that made any sense, at least, Annabeth says firmly before continuing. More than one giant lives on this island, and if we killed one, the others would surely retaliate. And even with 600 men, we could not fight that many giants. And if we did kill him or talk to him, we wouldn't get food, unless we had drugged the wine using the lotus that Odysseus got. But who knows how long that would have taken to take effect, or where he would be when it did. He might have fallen, blocked the entrance to the cave, and then we would have gotten no food. If we sacrificed men, the rest of the fleet would have retaliated. Everything else had too many risks, she informs. I thought of everything. It was the best path, and Odysseus seems to agree, so why don't you lay off? Why is she trying to start a fight? Odysseus looks up to Athena, praying for her to not kill this girl, though she seems more amused than mad, leaning down to Annabeth. I will, if you answer a question. Fine, Annabeth agrees, like she's doing the goddess a favor. How do I have a daughter? She asks. Annabeth gets this annoyed look of being asked this question far too often, which makes sense, as it is the thought that first popped into Odysseus's mind as well. I was created from your thoughts and then sent to Earth to live with my father. And yes, I have a belly button, she answers. Athena chuckles and straightens. You shouldn't be here, but I'm assuming you're dealing with that. We're dealing with it, she nods. Odysseus is about to ask what Athena means by she's not supposed to be here, and how did she not know about Annabeth if she supposedly was made from Athena's own thoughts. But before he can, Athena is gone again. Instead, he turns to Annabeth. I have questions? As long as they're not more questions about my conception, go for it. Why aren't you supposed to be here? And that, pardon my assumption, but you seem to really hate your mom, Odysseus notes. Well, I don't think we were meant to be on the Lotus Eater's Island. We just kind of ended up there by accident. And we are definitely not supposed to be on your ship. And, well, the only time she ever really visits me is to criticize me or send me on deadly quests. So yeah, not the best relationship. Annabeth looks away, her arms crossed. Yes, that does make a lot of sense. Wouldn't really like that either, he nods. But what doesn't make sense to him is why she would only visit for those reasons. Sure, she does often appear to give criticism, but she has also given Odysseus advice, lessons, praise. Why wouldn't she do the same for her own child? What did Athena say? Percy asks, his attention turned from the sea and back onto them. It was nothing important, Odysseus dismisses. But Percy doesn't look so sure. I'll tell you once we're underway, he promises, and Percy turns away, looking over the bow of the bow, like he often does when he's moving their fleets. Not that he needs to. As Odysseus has learned, Percy can freely walk about their ships and even have conversations while controlling the fleets, like it's nothing but breathing to him. Once they are parted from the Cyclops' island and sailing smoothly Odysseus goes to Percy. She was just not happy with the way we handled the Cyclops. But I think Annabeth handled that, he informs. Percy scoffs. Of course she didn't. Ah, so it appears both of you have a dislike of her opinion. She must have done something rather unfavorable to get on both of their bad sides. Percy always seems so friendly. He befriended a Cyclops for Olympus's sake. That's not something someone ill-tempered would do. Less her, more any god, Percy shrugs. Like saying you don't like the gods is the most casual thing to do. They just don't understand what it's like to be mortal, and sometimes they can cast judgment on things we can't help, so just annoying, I guess, he elaborates. I can see that, Odysseus admits, choosing his words carefully, but I would not put any blame on them for that. It seems foolish. It's not blame, it's just dislike, Percy corrects. Odysseus is furrowing his brow. He doesn't see the difference. Both blame and dislike are not something you want to have against the gods. Percy sighs and explains. Imagine your whole family has their eyes on you. Constantly. And at any moment, one of them can just show up and tell you how they disapprove of your life and how you could do better. I guess that makes sense, he admits. He never truly thought about that, how demigods are always watched. Not just by a single god like he is, but by all of them. Their whole family, watching. Percy nods. So, yeah, most of the gods are fine, just I don't really want their opinions. Well, besides Ares. Ares can fall into the deepest pit in Tartarus, for all I care, Percy says absently, like he would say anything else. Odysseus pales, and he cannot help but check around them, his other boats. Why would you say that? Percy, Annabeth warns, the whole ship now watching them with anxiety. Because if he does anything about it, I'll send him there myself, he says, patting his side, obviously not reading how nervous the whole ship is. Well, besides for Annabeth, who is rubbing the bridge of her nose, more annoyed than anything else. You are going to doom this whole fleet, he hisses to Percy. Sorry, Percy says with guilt, but it's not like he would fight me here anyway. Odysseus shoots him a look, and Percy cuts himself off before he can finish that with, because he's too pussy to. Alright! So, think the next island will have food? Odysseus asks Annabeth, trying to change the subject. Hard to say, Annabeth says as she's thinking. There's a high chance of some edible things growing there, but there's a much lower chance, but still a possibility of it having people as well. Or giants. Or Hydra, Percy inputs helpfully. And that is the end of chapter 2. And I'm going to pause this.